Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
Mostly sunny today, 74 the high. It's about 55 downtown. Going to be a gorgeous day today. Absolutely perfect. Mother's Day this weekend.
Man, maybe I can train for my 10K by running 1 mile.
Yeah, I would.
And not being able to go anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That'll do it, man. That's all you need.
Yeah. Don't burn yourself out before the race.
I just want to know that I can. I agreed to do the 10K when I had run 5 miles and felt good 1 week earlier. And I have not been able to do that since. I just want to run 5 again because I think if I feel good running 5, I can just bust out another 1.5 miles and just hurt for a day.
Probably. You can probably get through it. But oftentimes when you run those shorter distances, usually you train for them by running much longer distances than the actual distance you're running.
I know.
So running less than the distance you're running is a unique approach.
Yeah, and one that I'm not, it's not a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also a problem. I never have a plan.
That might be the problem.
I just feel it out, man. It's just life. I let it flow. I just feel it.
Nice job, McConaughey.
Yeah, Livin.
Time for you to get a Lincoln.
I love high school girls. I mean, anyway.
That's when you usually say sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar.
So
I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Time to feed Joe again.
Of course I can't think of, what's the band? It wasn't Sugarloaf. It was Sugar, I almost said Sugarfoot. Sugar Dream.
Doesn't work here anymore.
Jennifer Nettles.
Sugar Dream, Jennifer Nettles.
Sugarland.
Yes.
Sugarland. And yes, I got stuck on sugar. Just said it 4 times and stared into your face as though I needed
Well,
it.
you've remembered the important part of that word.
No one has ever sat around and said, man, I need land. Well, if you have. WZZM sent the watchdogs to do an investigation of why our roads fall apart so fast, even after they're just built.
Highways that are falling apart unexpectedly. Our 13 watchdog investigation focused on 2 relatively new roads here in West Michigan. Both now need to be replaced.
After a 4-month investigation, WGZM 13 watchdog David Bailey is here to explain why some of our highways are lasting just half the time they should.
Good evening, Nick and Juliet. The truth is we found at least 30 miles of road in 6 counties across the state that have to be replaced early due to the problems we are about to describe. Tonight we focus on West Michigan's road problems. Over the years, some have scratched the surface on this issue, but finally, after more than a decade, we have the full story.
You've been working on this 8-minute story for a decade?
Takes time, Joe.
30 seconds every other year.
You got to wait for the road to fall apart.
Like, is no one ever held accountable and asked to back up their work when they're doing construction for a city? Apparently not.
It doesn't seem like it.
The worst,
like shaking you.
newest.
We drive back and forth on that.
I was wondering if they were going to address M6 on the way to Holland.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know. I hadn't been on it, but
The last time I drove
old.
on it, it was fine. It was when we first moved here, it was the nicest road in town.
yeah.
Road,
The whole truck was shaking.
driving it
Get you rattling pretty good running through there.
in an instant, from tip-top to terrible. Wow, this is the condition of M6.
When you drive it at 70, it doesn't look near as bad as when you get out and walk it.
The cracks are everywhere. Every 15 feet, the road's joints are spalling, busted, and nothing can be done other than patching.
Our goal is to try to look at those spots before they get bad and seal them up.
And we're talking about one of West Michigan's newest highways, finished in 2004?
If they're going to do it, why not do it right the first time?
Did that guy win a Masters?
I guess
I
so.
think he did, yeah. I love your
Fortunately,
green
we
jacket.
found this is a buy one road for the price of 2 deal. And guess what? There's more. US 131 from 10 Mile Road to Cedar Springs, paved in 2001. It's also jacked up and will also need to be replaced at half its life as well. Wow. And believe it or not, our lawmakers had no clue about any of this until
What?
the
They don't? Do
How
they
can that
fly
be?
helicopters and hovercrafts everywhere?
They're always so worried about what's going on.
ZZM 13 watchdogs gave them the information.
It's embarrassing to us. We have egg on our face, and we knew nothing about
But that's
it.
nothing new.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going on. You make dumb laws and you don't follow up on anything, which is why things happen like roads crumbling and the Flint water crisis and everything else. Nobody's minding the store.
That's a
Water
Now I have to urinate.
Reporter had to go number one.
All of a sudden I have to pee.
is the enemy. Too much of it getting into concrete can impact long-term durability.
right,
When large amounts of water inside freeze, it expands the concrete and breaks the road up.
Okay.
To stop that
Thank
from
you.
okay.
Simple science.
happening, DOT workers put a special powder in the mix called Vinsol resin. That chemical helps establish microscopic air bubbles or a foam in the concrete that gives it a place for water to go when
Lovely.
freezing happens.
Okay.
The idea is pavers want to get good, well-dispersed little bubbles to keep most water out when the road freezes and thaws.
Okay, that's
All of
good.
a
That was
sudden-
educational.
Yes, it
Yep.
was.
Thank you.
Now let's see why this isn't working.
What used to work didn't.
In this 13 watchdog investigation, it became quite clear MDOT in the 1990s didn't have contractors build roads the way they used to. We found the state in the mid-1990s started allowing the use of synthetic versions of Vinsol resin, changing the chemicals up a little bit, and what resulted from that could be the $1 million mistake. That the synthetics in places
More
weren't
like
good enough.
$1 billion
Okay.
mistake.
Yeah.
Well,
Now-
what about
$1 million worth of road is about 8 feet.
So I assume that they just kept allowing it to happen since we were just talking about a road that was built in 2004.
Yeah, and if this started in
That's-
92, yeah, obviously it's been happening for some time across the state.
Boy,
With crumbling roads.
disgusting monsters.
To be able to keep water out, and that any highway built from the late 1990s to the mid-2000s could be prone to severe early damage just like M6.
2004, 2005, we recognize there's something going on here, you know, and there's something going on with our concrete pavements, selected concrete pavements. We're starting to show some deterioration at 10 years, less than 10 years, that we wouldn't see for 25 years.
We knew we needed to deal with it.
The belief is the synthetic chemical changes could be the primary cause of M6 and US 131's early deaths.
Synthetics were playing some. They were suspect. They weren't. We suspect they weren't quite as stable.
The instability of the synthetic chemical then perhaps
good.
created a secondary issue that diseased the road, ASR, a reaction of some of the cement and sand. This is what ASR does to concrete. In addition, MDOT's concrete expert
Makes it
Dave
almost look
like
like a scales,
yeah,
except it's
just
big old cracks all throughout the concrete.
Staten also told us MDOT didn't always use fortifying supplementary cementing materials in the 90s and 2000s to increase the concrete strength. Something that
I knew it. I knew something was going on because you'll go to other states that are in the north where you can't possibly use an argument like, oh, well, we use salt and there's plows and blah, blah, blah.
Right,
Because you'll go to other places where it's like, oh, well, winter is the same there. And these roads don't have cancer.
Yeah, they always
why do
wanted to-
Wisconsin's roads look better than ours?
They always wanted to play it like, oh, they must repave them more. No, they're using good
Yeah.
stuff when they do it the first time.
Yeah.
mandated today. Add in potential drainage problems and the use of de-icers on roads. Put it all together, MDOT and its contractors admit the situation is one big mess.
I guess, what do you say to taxpayers who say, you guys really messed up?
I would say you have a right to be upset. I'm upset because
Listen,
because I've
settle
got
down.
so much money invested in all of this personally.
You can tell.
You know,
and I'm so upset.
I haven't slept in minutes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, my anger is at an 11.
I mean, I am a tsunami of emotion.
Watch out. You're about to get torrents of hatred thrown at you because I'm so angry.
Imagine if my emotions were a boat right now and my body was a whirlpool.
Dude. So bad.
You're a taxpayer.
It is him.
Can't tell when the impression
Yeah,
stopped.
I didn't realize how good we had honed that in such a
messed up.
small period of time.
I would say you have a right to be upset. I'm upset because I'm a taxpayer. You're a taxpayer.
Wouldn't you like to be a taxpayer too?
You're a taxpayer.
Be a taxpayer.
You're a stupid fudge face.
I'm also the type of taxpayer who deals with your taxes and is able to build offshore bank accounts.
It's kind of like I'm paying myself with my taxes.
Motoring public, and you are too, and as everyone else is. The DOT is not happy about it.
Why is your upper lip sweating, sir?
No kidding.
Getting a little nervous.
Say to critics who say this was just a big, big mistake.
I would say that nobody is
This
pleased.
guy's from the Michigan
with that
Concrete Association. Is that a lobbying group who
Probably.
lobbies on behalf of big concrete?
You're damn right.
Probably.
I will also say that nobody intentionally went out and did things, cut corners.
I don't believe you.
Well, no,
I
at all.
actually don't believe that either.
No.
I want to believe that, but boy, let's see. How can we rake in more money for all of our friends and get kickbacks at the same time? I know, let's leave a component out that we know is going to make this fail. And then, hey, guess what? Your feet aren't getting held to the fire, but we have to hire you again to redo the road you already did.
Right.
Because you did it to our specifications, so you can't be blamed for it.
Planned obsolescence.
Mm-hmm.
Things
Absolutely.
that they thought would save them a buck or two.
But did
You know,
MDOT
like
and its
Flint.
contractors cut corners? Our investigation took a turn when we started asking questions of the company Panova out of Georgia that exclusively makes the original Vinsol resin. That's, of course, that chemical MDOT had used successfully for years.
Okay.
A company leader at Panova told us the synthetic version of their chemical produced by other companies is cheaper than their product.
Of course it
and
is.
their
Other than
we
they wouldn't
know.
have switched.
belief is that DOTs and contractors across the country started using the synthetics to save money. MDOT's leaders contend it wasn't a money issue, rather a supply issue of Vinsol resin.
BS.
We have no,
It's seriously.
I guess, no opinion on what's the shortage and where things are going.
Oh, please let them follow some lobbying money in this.
Yes.
If
Yeah,
they follow
absolutely.
lobbying money and tie it back into the assembly who was voting back then.
Well, yeah, I can guarantee that somebody's got a massive contract of some sort or another.
And you'd think it would be pretty easy to go to a company and say, hey, was there a shortage of non-synthetic whatever this resin is?
Yeah.
Oh, there wasn't?
Yeah. Remember they closed down all those Vinsol mines?
The industry that would dictate that. So
But
if
why
they-
even switch? I mean, why even allow that to happen? Why not say, look, we've done it well for 30 years. Let's not change a good thing.
That would be difficult to do because it's a supply issue.
The 13 Watchdog team hasn't independently been able
I will
to
say
confirm
this. Now, they say they used it successfully for 30 years before they switched to the synthetic. I would argue that is a lie, too, because I've lived in this state almost my whole life and can think of lots of roads that I remember watching them repave from the dirt up that fell apart within a decade.
Really?
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
any kind of shortage of that product, and Panova's leaders
That would be difficult to do because it's a supply issue.
The 13 Watchdog team hasn't independently been able to confirm any kind of shortage of that product, and Panova's leaders dispute there was ever any shortage of it.
So no, there wasn't a shortage. He's straight up lying about it.
Yeah, because as far as I can tell, the company wouldn't have a reason to lie. They could just say, at that time, there was a small shortage for a short period of time or whatever. But although at the same time, if they say, no, there was never a shortage, and then it just proves how crummy the synthetic is.
Yeah, right.
Ultimately, experts at MDOT say the lifespan of a highway should be 25 to 30 years
Should
before
be.
major
Not 10.
rehab. US 131 from Wealthy to 28th Street in Grand Rapids has lasted 60 years. That's why some lawmakers are already asking for an investigation into what happened here. Many,
What was that?
including
Wealthy to where?
28th.
The surface of that road was like the moon for a while. Didn't they just resurface all of that?
I don't
I think
remember.
south of 28th they did.
They definitely did south.
But even if they did even if they did the other part. And after 60 years, so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
Representative-
maybe if it's substructure, maybe that's still solid.
Tom Hooker, who has M6 in his district, had no clue about Vinsol resin.
And now to find out that it was improperly done, MDOT should have let us know, if nobody else, so we can inform our constituents, what went wrong.
Those constituents.
What
come
do you
on.
do other than tan way too much?
Yeah, you're a representative out of Byron Center.
Mm-hmm.
You never drive on M6.
Right.
You never noticed
Right.
that, hey, you know what? Boy, they finished this road in 2004, and now my car just fell into it. If only somebody had told me. Oh, I'm hungry.
That was improperly done. MDOT should have let us know, if nobody else, so we can inform our constituents, what went wrong.
Those constituents are mad.
They don't do it right the first time.
Golden
And
rule.
they're wasting my tax dollars.
The belief they simply don't mix it like they used to.
This is embarrassing, isn't it?
It is a terrible thing. Yeah, it's not a good thing. It's not something we expect. We have to figure this out.
It seems like they did. It seems figured out.
Yeah, it seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Figure this out. Well, many of the roads in question in this investigation have short warranties of anywhere between 4 to 7 years that would not apply now for the roads
4
built
to
in that
7 years.
They're
on a
supposed to last
warranty.
25, and you don't even give it 10-year warranty?
No.
Come on.
Pathetic.
era.
I mean,
Leader.
that's like giving any product a 1-year warranty or something.
Yeah.
You go, well, I know it's going to last a year.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
investigation-
this should last 10 years. Oh, no problem.
Have short warranties of anywhere between 4 to 7 years that would not apply now for the roads built in that era. Leaders at MDOT said definitively, they believe they have the testing standards and materials in place now to prevent this from happening. And again, that, of course, remains to be seen. $55 million, guys. $55 million just for the 2 roads here in Kent County. We don't know what the cost is going to be for all the other roads outside of West Michigan, probably in the 9 figures.
It's a lot of money. So what about the cost to drivers to repair their cars? I know I've been around.
Yes.
I hit a big old pothole on 131.
We were up there today, live on Facebook, going down just
Live on
right around
Facebook.
Cedar
Yeah,
Springs.
wow.
And we were
Yeah,
just
live
getting
on
pelted
Facebook.
with
You don't
rocks.
say.
I mean, you could feel the rocks hitting our vehicle, aside from the road condition, which is just awful. On
I do
US
get a lot of
131.
rocks
And
hitting
that's
my
the
windshield.
reason
Oh,
why
yeah.
They're going to try to replace these roads quickly here just within the next 2 years.
All right.
That's
Good
quick.
work.
Yeah, get to it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
no one could tell M6 was destroyed last summer.
No, it's very difficult to tell. Plus, Juliet's ruining her dubs.
Yeah, no kidding. This thing's barely spin now.
Dude. So the fix on 196 should last a long time.
It better.
It should have been fixed by then, right?
I hope so. So far, so good.
Have a great weekend. Nirvana, all apologies. 97.9 GRD rocks.